what is different between a website and a virtual embassy. So just to challenge you a little bit to think about these things, if you want to really sort of bridge the grasp of the reach, to think about this creatively, because there is potential. I mean, it sees the future, but it needs to be really made applicable to the developing context.
What makes it different is a website is a two-dimensional, passive. Yes, there are things you can do there. You can interact with people, and you can interact with chat rooms and that sort of thing. But in virtual spaces, it gives people a chance to create identities. And actually, I love Jean's point, because my first job out of college in 1996 was working at America Online, and I wrote a big article about that for the cover of the Village Voice in the United States. And I remember I had never touched a computer the whole time I was in college. I never used a computer, and I graduated, and I thought, I better learn how to use the internet, you know. So I worked there very briefly, and it was the exact same criticisms that were leveled against the internet at that time that are being leveled now against virtual spaces, okay? But a virtual space is an immersive environment in which people can interact in real time, total strangers who connect in completely different ways than people connect in physical world. And so that is the value right there above a web page. And I can understand how, you know, people who are maybe missed the whole, you know, internet revolution the first time around, because if I had never worked in America Online, who knows how I would immerse myself in technology or not. It's understandable that people would react that way, but I think the answer, the immersion aspect of it, is what makes it very, very different. And because it's still so new, you know, we have technical problems and that sort of thing, and because, again, the media says, oh, people are creating casinos and creating little, you know, sex enclaves, and people are like, whoa, I don't want to have our government in there, that's crazy, but that's real life too. You know, you don't not put an embassy in New York because Times Square wasn't cleaned up yet. I mean, you know, that's life.
Here we have some slightly different statistics about the power which is used. At least there was one article in The Economist that Second Life utilizes the huge amount of electrical power and increasing carbon dioxide footprint, but it wasn't very convincing.
More than my Googling.
Yeah. We usually think with the technology that one technology should replace the other one throughout the history. And you have many examples when technologies have been coexisting and enhancing each other and bringing the new functionality with video, with telephone, radio, wireless. There are numerous examples, and I think it's a valid point. Question from Second Life. Almost all the panelists have mentioned bridging the digital divide. But isn't the first step promoting remote access to conferences, including in events, more immediately inclusive than developing new platforms? Okay? And the Second Life can provide a facility for the more active participation of people from all over the world. What we did during one of our events, since some participants, our participants from Africa, our students, we had a graduation ceremony, couldn't attend the session. What we did a direct transcribe from the Second Life to the simple chats. That it was a possibility for them to follow the session. We have a question, three questions. I think you were the first, and then we have one question here.
I've actually used Second Life in Sri Lanka in an active peace process to bring politicians, very senior, 70+ people together to discuss, if you know the history of Sri Lanka, deeply divisive, highly emotive issues. The experience has been quite interesting. And one of the things is when the politicians never use it themselves, but when you have a younger person who they trust and use it and show the potential of it for them, their eyes really open up and they're interested in using the platform to further, in the first instance, their own part of propaganda. And as time goes by, there's an interesting virtual social political dynamic that happens that they really do want to engage with each other, but that's a longer story. In Sri Lanka, Second Life doesn't work. We tried it as a limited experiment for all of the reasons that the panel themselves have been experiencing. Technical. It's not also the issue of broadband, it's the issue of the hardware. You use a MacBook Pro, try using that on a MacBook with the Intel graphics core processor, it doesn't work. And all of that costs money. You can get it through funding, but sustainability is a huge issue. So it's embryonic at the moment, it shows huge potential, I have no doubt about it at all. but there are serious problems about using it for mission-critical applications like peace building, peace processes. I've been very heavily involved in humanitarian processes using Second Life. It is a problem at the moment. Just to end by saying that I will be working with the United Nations IT officer based in New York for the next 3 months in 2008, as in my capacity as an advisor to the ICT for Peace Foundation based in Geneva. We are looking at a number of issues. The IT officer has been mandated by the UN Secretary General and given a budget of $250 million to revamp the entirety of the United Nations IT architecture. There is acknowledgement that agencies within the UN have really sophisticated systems, but they are not interoperable, period. And there is a recognition that we need to move beyond that. And one of the recommendations that I and the Foundation, working with Mr. Choi, the IT officer, will be recommending is to look very, very seriously at not just Second Life, but virtual worlds. Second Life will be primary among them, to see whether on an agency level or on a headquarters field level, they can use these platforms to bring about greater cohesion in the UN's own operations, from peace support operations to development. Thank you.